Hi, Francine. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Kev. How's it going?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, I'm excited to be doing this, and happy 2018. It's been great
Yes.
for me for the, what are we in, the 10th day?
Is it really
Yeah.
today?
It means you're having fun, right? You're not
No,
keeping track.
no.
Good.
I'm joking. It doesn't feel right. It feels like it's definitely a different year, for sure.
Okay.
If you live online, you see a lot of crazy stuff every day. I don't really watch TV, so like everything that I do is 15 screens in my face for social media stuff. So like literally, all I've seen is Oprah, Vermilion Parish,
Yeah, those two things are really
and
popular right now.
right now we have this situation where this woman was trying to speak out at a school board meeting, and she was arrested for it. And
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
it went
really,
viral. This is in
yeah,
our hometown.
they should have
In
just let the
in
woman speak.
Acadiana, which is in South Louisiana. We're both from this area, and so we're being highlighted right now for something that's not too good, but hopefully a positive outcome will come out of all of it.
I think it will. I
Yeah.
think that you have problems. I don't know. To me, when I hear Vermilion Parish,
hmm
you have problems everywhere, but you really have them in Vermilion Parish.
Yeah. So Vermilion Parish, for people that are listening outside of the state,
Yeah.
or that are not from here, maybe out of the country, is we go with parishes, and most states
Right.
go with counties. So I think there's like 64, but Vermilion Parish is south of Louisiana, and it's a really good. I mean, there's a lot of cool cities and towns, and there's actually a village that I'm from in the area.
A
And it's,
village.
yeah, who can say they're from a village? Not many people.
What, Maurice?
Yeah, Maurice.
Oh.
Hey, Maurice. All right. So this happened actually, I believe, in Kaplan.
I don't know.
Okay, so it was.
What's really weird to me is like one of the people in the video, I know her really well. So I keep seeing her in the video, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna call her up. What the hell is going on? I saw you on the freaking on the news like 7 years
Highlights of what happened, Kev.
Oh, well, which one?
The one in the Vermilion Parish.
Oh, the
incident.
Vermilion
Yeah.
Parish thing is kind of interesting because basically you have a superintendent, and they apparently gave himself a raise. Somehow they gave this guy a raise, and they were questioning, why have none of the teachers been given a raise? And he apparently didn't like that. They don't apparently like getting questioned, and next thing you know, she was speaking out, and I mean, she was arrested. She was asked to leave,
Yeah.
and she was escorted outside. And next thing you know, she was put into a car. And now I think they're claiming that she wasn't arrested. So
They threw her. Yeah,
yeah.
it looked like the camera showed her being thrown to the ground, and that's what a lot of people had issues with. Even her being handcuffed, and you could hear the crowd kind of gasping of what was going on. But the bigger thing, not only was she handcuffed and arrested for just speaking her mind, and it wasn't anything outrageous. Trust me, I listened to it, but they had issues of the school board not really responding. That's my phone. Um, and not really doing anything about it and taking up for her. So
Well, I've heard more.
anyway, it went to Fox News. It went viral, and I'm glad that it's getting a lot of attention. It's something we can definitely improve on.
Yeah.
So check that out if you want. I think it's all over YouTube. It's the teacher that spoke out in Vermilion Parish. So, well, let's move along and kind of tell them what this is
Yeah.
all about. I'll let you start.
I think that this is going to be about how to talk about positive things. Basically, the world keeps hearing about positive things, and I think that sometimes they don't understand how to keep it positive. It's like, to me, you start off your day at work, and you like wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, today's gonna be the day. You know what I mean?
Like-
Like I'm gonna have the best life ever. You know what I'm saying? Like
Is that
people.
what you do?
No, I don't do that.
Okay.
But like
That's cool if you do.
I can see people that do this more and more and more as the years go by,
Yeah.
and I think that they get to work, they're there like midday, and they're like, I hate my day. Fuck all this positive. I'm sorry. F all this positive stuff. You know what I mean? Like, how do you stay positive? How do you consecutively
Yeah, that's a
stay
really good question.
positive?
It's a really good question.
How do you get through the fact that somebody came in your office and is aggravating you?
Yeah.
How do you get through the day when you're a salesperson and the person that is next to you constantly won't stop talking to you about negative shit all day? And that's kind of what I think that this is probably needs to be about.
Yeah.
Because
we're going to be real about this in Raw
Yeah.
and have hopefully some insight and be informative.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good, Kevin.
and it's funny because I used to do all this. I used to be in an office where there was nothing but salespeople, and all they were doing was bitching all day.
Yeah.
And you have to sell.
Yeah.
You can't have a positive day when everybody's bitching all day.
It's hard to keep that vibe up, right?
Well, yeah, you have to disconnect yourself from the rest of this people, and it's not to be a negative person to say that. It's that you have to focus on what you need to do. You can't focus if somebody keeps coming in bothering you all day.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to set some type of guideline
Yeah.
or be straight up with them and say, dude, I got work to do. I'd love to talk, but let's chat later.
Yeah.
And if they start with the negative stuff and,
I used to have a sign in my office,
uh-huh,
and it used to say the economy's good here. And people would come in my office and they would say, man, I don't know where you live. And I would say, well, sir, in this square, the economy's good here.
yeah, so you kept your own environment.
Yeah, I mean,
positive.
and if they didn't like it, they can leave.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and some people, they really stop their negativity when I would say that to them.
I think that it's always kind of a vibrational match. A lot of times, like our vibe will attract.
Well, people like I use the sales world because I did it for so long and I still do it. I just don't do it in the same environment. But like I tell salespeople on a regular basis, you really need to stop constantly going into other offices and talking about your bad shit all day. If you have problems, you need to go see a therapist. You don't go to the
Or a
salesperson
coach.
next door. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
all you're doing is ruining the next salesperson's day. If you're going to be a team, then be a team. Don't be an asshole and give negative vibes to the person next to you. And then after you're done expelling all your negativity, you get to feel you're like, oh my god, I feel so much better. I'm going back to my office to get all my work done.
Yeah, it's really tough.
But it happens to people.
It does. It happens to us, and
Yeah.
maybe it's a way for us to kind of grow a little bit, to be put in those
Yeah,
situations.
and look, some people can't tell people no. Some people can't, be rude. I run across a lot of these people on a regular basis, and they're like, man, I don't feel like I can tell this person to leave me alone.
Yeah, so you know what's going to happen? It'll keep popping up in their reality because it's a lesson they probably need to learn.
Well, it's
to step up.
It's what I call a pattern.
It's a pattern.
Yeah.
So in order to break that pattern, that's life
Yeah.
throwing it constantly in front of you until you do something about it. So there's a few things I think for me, and I was in the office environment for a long time, and I had some negativity around me. And I just, you can ignore it and just be pissed off, or you can deal with it.
Yeah.
Or you can just cut it out as soon as they start talking. I think our positivity, just as much as we don't like their negativity, our positivity makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I'm gonna give you an example. Every once in a while, I don't. People think I don't ever sleep. They think I'm a vampire or something.
I think you are too.
People, please, you have to go to sleep.
You do.
Sometimes I will pass out sitting upright in a chair as I'm working on something, but I still sleep.
Okay, so tell us what you
Okay.
did.
Well, the other night I went to the store.
Yeah.
There are very few stores open at 3:00 in the morning. I went to the store. I'm not going to say which one because you'll be able to figure out where it is and stuff. And this woman was working, and she seemed really cool, and I could tell that she was really aggravated about something. You could just kind of tell. And she was complaining about something. Like, I mean, this is like 3:00 in the morning. Nobody's in the store. Nobody's outside. Nothing. It's like it's cricket time, So, She goes outside and she continues to talk to me. And I'm just letting her talk because I could tell clearly she needed to. She was complaining about things about her job,
Yeah.
and she was complaining about people that come in.
Mm-hmm.
And she stopped talking, and I said, "Do you mind if I share something with you?" She said, "No." I said, "You have to understand that when you work at a place like this, you are literally the stepping stone for people on a regular basis throughout the day. I mean, you might have a guy that just got in the biggest fight with his wife. You might have a wife that got in a fight with her
Yeah, so
husband.
she's putting herself
And they're
in the
coming to
middle.
the gas station to get a drink, and they're going to put that on you, you know? And that's what she's doing. Like, that's happened to her all day. And now she's putting it on me at 3 o'clock in the morning when I wanted to go in there and grab some water. So I just let her talk because I knew, because you kind of, every once in a while, you got to be empathetic to the fact that somebody needs to talk.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, and that happened. And you know what? I told her, I said, ma'am, I said, if you're not happy here, then, you really need to sit down and focus about what you really want. I said, because you're constantly talking about what you don't want, and it's not just going to make itself better.
Definitely. That's right.
And she just looked at me and she says, nobody's ever told me anything like that before. And I said, well, I don't know you. I said, but I don't really think that, I know that's how it is. Like, you have to sit down and either write it down. You have to write down what you want. And when you get to that point, you realize you have no idea what you want. When you get to that point, when you have a piece of paper and a pen and you say, this is what I want,
It turns into something different.
it literally stops. You stop for a second and you go, man, what do I really want?
Yeah. What do we really want?
Yeah.
We think we want the big house, the fancy car,
Yeah.
and all of that stuff, which is all fine. But a lot of us just want happiness and peace.
I think people have to really know what they want in order to be happy. And I think that it starts with a paper and a pen.
Yeah. I'm just very general with it and just wake up and say, I want to be happy.
Yeah.
And whatever connects, however God connects the dots, the universe, life, I'm all good. I don't care about really how I get happy as long as it's, it's
Yeah.
not against the law
Yeah.
or it's in line with
Yeah.
my
I mean-
integrity. But, life knows that.
I-
So you can be just really general. You don't have to get really specific. It's to manifest it in our life. It's cool to imagine it, and imagine the details, but don't get attached to all of that. And writing it down is really powerful.
It's probably the most powerful thing you'll
Yeah.
ever do, because when you write it down, it actually tells your subconscious this is what you want.
Yeah. So we always saying, you made a good point, and I want to touch on it, about what we don't want. We always hear, if you get on Facebook, which I've unfollowed, I did the unfollow drill, as you know, a few years ago, where I just have really positive feed. Even a lot of the news feed I cut out, because that's what I want to see. So, but anyway, getting back to that, there's a lot of people that are bitching and saying what they don't want in their life. So what do you think happens when we're constantly talking about what we don't want?
Say that one more time.
What happens when we're constantly talking about what we don't want and bitching about what's in our reality?
What do we want when we're bitching?
Yeah, what happens if we're constantly bitching about what we don't want?
It's addiction.
Mm-hmm.
We're addicted to our patterns of negativity.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we're always sticking our toe, and not always, but most of us do that, okay, because of programming, where we just kind of sticking our toe and feeling that pain or whatever that traumatizes us, and then it spirals from there. So I guess what I'm getting at, if we're always constantly thinking about it, talking about all of the stuff that we don't want,
You're going to keep bringing more shit into your
right,
life.
and it's going to definitely lower your vibe.
Yeah, I mean,
so, and you're going to attract whatever you put out there. So, if you're not happy what life is, bringing to you, change what you're giving, putting out in life.
Yeah. Well, just change it. Yeah, I mean, but everything I've ever done, anything I've ever done in my lifetime, if I want to change something, I go buy a new notebook. Serious.
Yeah.
And I usually go to the Dollar Tree and buy it.
Yeah, Dollar Tree is really cool.
and I buy a pack of pens.
I'm all about a
You know,
pack of pens.
but I'm serious about this. Like people really go, what do I need to do to change my life? You want to change? I'm telling you, go buy a notebook and write down what you really want.
Hey, it takes one step.
Yeah.
One step every day of improving yourself. That's it. It doesn't have to be anything crazy either.
I I I
Read a
don't.
book.
Yeah, it costs $2.
Go into, one of the most powerful things, and I talk about it a lot, and especially with my clients, it's so easy and so powerful, is just go into gratitude. Because the brain cannot be pissed off and happy at the same time.
Well, they I can't remember where I learned this, but there's like
Hmm.
an exercise. Like I don't know if anybody understands people don't really know anything about the brain sometimes, but the frontal lobe system of the brain is where you are happy. Like if your frontal lobe is on, you're happy. It's pretty much how it is. There's an exercise that you can literally do where you take both hands and you put one on each side of your head. You don't touch your head. You just hold your fingers there, like you're holding them together, and you close your eyes and you try to visualize yourself in the right hand with a feather, and you actually visualize and try to figure out how you tickle the inside of your brain with the feather.
That's a pretty cool one.
When
Yeah.
you do this exercise, it opens up the frontal lobe, and you are not allowed to be angry.
Okay, that's cool. You know what? So we're going to post all of this because that's a really cool
So,
drill.
well, when you do it,
Hmm.
your mood changes.
Yeah.
You know, it's an exercise to stop yourself from
Right.
being in
And
those patterns.
it helps to rewire those neural pathways.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
if you are writing or you're reading with alpha waves,
Hmm.
if you really are sitting there writing, the best thing I think I ever did was fifth grade. They used to make me do this punish work because I was bad, and
Hmm.
and and they would make me write the states, capitals, and populations
Little did
50
they know
times.
that was no punishment for
And I'll
you.
never forget this guy's name was Larry. He's not Larry Bird. Mr. Bird was his name.
Yeah.
Big tall dude, man. Like, a trip.
Hmm.
And that was my punish work. And then it transferred into sixth grade, and I'd have to do that. And it got to the point where I knew all of that stuff. Like I memorized it.
Hmm.
And if you really want to memorize stuff, that's how you do it. You write it down. So like if you want something, if you really want to put it in your subconscious, you write it down over and over
Or
and
you
over
teach it.
again.
Another way to do it is just teach it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to learn, you get it so much better. So,
If
yeah.
if you want to change your life, figure out what you want first,
Hmm.
write it down, and then write it down every day for 21
Yeah.
days.
So it's all about growing, and that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why we wanted to do this podcast so much. Is just to lift, the vibe of the country, the world, and
Well,
your world in general. And we come out of the womb a happy kids. Most of us, I believe, most of us are really happy kids, and then life happens, which is fine.
well,
We
I've
need
had
some
a lot of
adversity.
I've had a lot of life happen, and
Yeah,
so have you, and
yeah,
so
we've had a
everybody
lot of
has.
life, and
Everybody has.
there's a lot of brokenness in a lot of people,
I mean,
and we can either go one way or the other way,
hmm
and so it's all about, like we talked about before we started this a while ago, is that it's about being a better person, being a better human. Even if you're a good person, you can always grow, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so we can always get better. And the better we are, the happier, and the more connected we are, and the more understanding we are of other people.
Yeah, to me, there's nothing you can't change,
Hmm.
really. I mean, I think even I don't know how to explain this, but like literally, even all the research I've had to do with, even the serial killer situations and all these different things that I've had to research. I mean, even these guys have the ability to be rehabilitated.
Yeah, I think there's
I
really
really
just
do.
a small percent of people, and maybe I'm wrong, that there's some wiring, I don't know if it's a spiritual thing or what, that just don't get it. But I think at
So
the
some of them
core
don't.
of all
Yeah.
of us, without the ego, without the personality, we're all love. And we have both light and darkness. And it's
Mm.
all about squeezing that darkness. And it comes from just personal awareness. Once you're aware of, like, even judging people. We all do it. Some of us more than others, but it's just to be aware of those habits. That's how we change. So, are you someone that puts the buggy, like the grocery cart? I'm sorry, the grocery cart up in the parking lot in the right place?
Me?
Yeah. Or do you just leave it?
I no, I try to pick it up.
Yeah, I do
Um,
too. I mean, if there's hurricane force winds,
that's when I really like to pick it up.
yeah, really, it
Yeah.
might take you on a ride,
I
right?
actually enjoy natural disasters. I know
Mhm.
that sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but to me, that's like the only time people love each other.
We
They
do
actually,
come
yeah.
together,
I mean,
especially in this area.
you can't. You can't. I've had people ask me, what religion are you? Natural disasters.
Yeah. So
That's what
I guess
religion
I'm
is.
getting at like I don't know that I was always. I think I was maybe always that person. And I really will go out of my way, even sometimes I don't feel like it.
Dude,
I'm like, oh, that stretches me a little bit.
I have seen tornadoes, hurricanes. I haven't been in an earthquake, but I watch a lot of earthquake footage and I do a lot of seismic research.
Hmm.
And I can tell you right now, I mean, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go
it's
back to the court.
the car. Well, no, what I'm saying is
Hmm.
like everything that has ever taken place. Like you guys don't know how to drive, but yet there's a natural disaster, no electricity. Everybody's super nice. They won't let everybody go. They all take turns. Lights come back on. There's 1,000 wrecks. Makes no sense.
It's something, isn't it?
It's things that we take for granted subconsciously,
Yeah.
and we do.
Yeah.
We take our daily life for granted every day.
Yeah. One thing, Kevin and I have been knowing each other. I don't know. I think we're going on 2 years now. The story
Really?
how we met, yeah, I think so.
That doesn't seem right.
What, does it seem longer?
No, I mean I don't really think of time.
Okay, he
So
doesn't. So this is what I'm getting at, is that there's a lot of similarities in us, and there's a lot of things that are different. But definitely,
hopefully so.
yeah, definitely. So one thing that I've learned from Kevin is just to kind of be in the now and not be so rushed.
Is that what you've learned from me?
I've learned more, but that's like, I think I just caught on to that today.
Uh,
Because while ago, I'm like, okay, let's go. You're like, what do you have to do, like in the next half an hour? Nothing.
One thing I've learned from Francine is that I um I apparently need to have other people help me sometimes.
Yeah, some delegation. So, anyway, we're gonna get back on track, and what's something that you'd like to share? A personal story, something kind of short that helped you grow to change your world.
The one thing that probably shocked me the most, even though for some strange reason I just knew,
Mm-hmm.
as 8 years old,
Yeah.
I used to watch my mom always go to this place. There was this like really high bookcase or something, and she would always put this. It was actually a Bible, believe it or not. She would put all these things in this Bible,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, why does she keep going back and forth to that Bible? I observed this as a child. Okay, like I'm
Mm-hmm.
6, 7. Watched this maybe for 3 years.
Yeah, I could see you being curious.
I'm extremely curious.
Yeah.
So one night, I got up out of bed, and I climbed up there, and I found out what she was. She had all kind of stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things she had in there was was a birth certificate,
Uh-oh.
and I didn't know what that was. I had no idea what that was, but I knew how to read.
You knew
So
how to read.
yeah, so I figured that it was something important. But I the only thing I figured out was that I had two of them,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
that and I thought about it. It's like you found buried treasure or something. Like you were in a treasure something, and next thing you know, I put everything back, and I went. I think 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I want to talk to y'all. I remember sitting my parents down and I said, I would like to talk to you about something.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, what? I said, there's something I found that I want to ask you about.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, go ahead. I said, I'll be right back. So I went and climbed up this bookcase, got this book, and brought it back to them. And I said, I found these two documents. I said, I know this is my name, what does the rest of this stuff mean? I said, because I know this is you on one of them, but this is not the rest. That's the day I found out I was adopted,
Wow.
and I'll never forget the look on my parents' face. That was definitely an interesting
Yeah,
situation.
they weren't ready for that.
Oh no, they didn't know what to do. I think that
And
there
how
was.
did you process that before you brought it to him? What were you thinking? Did you know you were adopted?
I
Did you
think I
register
did.
that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
I didn't. It's not something I ever really was mad about
Mhm.
because I was just thankful.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, what do you get mad at? Why get mad? You know,
Yeah.
To me that was the whole thing, and
I think the earlier on you know, the probably
I never
better.
saw it any other way.
Yeah.
I
That's
never
cool.
did, but that's something that I can say definitely changed me
Mhm.
because it made me realize that you know that did not have to happen, and
No.
I should be thankful for that.
Yeah,
And
cuz
I
it
think that every day I think about that subconsciously somehow.
that's really a beautiful thing. It
Yeah,
really is.
you know. And I think sometimes people, even today,
Mhm.
they don't know where I'm coming from on shit,
Mhm.
but they don't really know any of that. They don't really know who you are.
Mhm.
In inside,
Mhm. Isn't
they
that true?
assume that they know everything about you.
We do a lot of assuming. Yeah.
And I think that that's the biggest issue that we do as humans
Yes.
because you might have you don't have a clue where the person next to you's been.
No.
You really don't.
Instead of asking questions, we fill in our own blanks.
Yeah, we do. And look, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I mean, I do
Definitely,
make
me too.
assumptions and everything. I
Mhm.
mean, people ask you questions and they're like, what do you think about this? And usually
Mhm.
it's correct, but you have to make sure. You can't just
Yeah.
guess.
That's why I love to ask questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I
But
think every human it's a human thing.
but that was definitely one experience that
Yeah. Thanks for
changed
sharing
me
that. That's really cool, and it's
more than
really,
anything.
yeah,
So
that definitely shifted a lot of things.
yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It
Yeah.
was interesting. Um, um, but I never like my dad. Was literally is one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life.
Nice.
So like, I mean, I don't even know how to explain him.
Mhm.
You know, so it's and what's funny was that's the day my older brother found out he was adopted too, because I had his birth certificate right in front of me.
You guys both found out.
Yes,
How did he was
he
his
didn't.
reaction the
Well, I
same?
think he kind of knew
Mhm.
because he had actually gone to court a couple of times. I think, and you don't really know what that is when you're a kid a little bit.
Yeah.
But the experiences of all these things and learning all these things. Learning I had sisters.
Real
That
sisters.
that definitely.
Mhm.
I was like, man, I need to meet these people. You
Mhm.
know, I didn't really care too much of as far as meeting anybody else.
Mhm.
Um,
That makes sense.
but I did care, and my sisters. I told one happy birthday 2 days ago.
Mm.
So
You
and
guys look alike?
I don't know if we look alike, but I can tell you right now, if we all got in the same room, I don't think many people could handle it. But we
Mm.
we do understand each other.
Yeah.
That's for sure, and it's kind of funny because my little sister now takes pictures.
Mm. And so do you.
Yeah, and
Evan's a
that's
really good, um, God,
but
really talented photographer. Go
but
ahead.
I mean, now she is. And that's the thing. Like, you visualize what somebody can do, and you go, "Well, I never realized that I could do something like
Yeah.
that." And you know, which brings me to my next situation:
Mhm.
mentoring. Okay, everything that we do, we learn. We either learn the right way or we learn the bad way. If we think that somebody is who we are supposed to be like, if you have nobody to look at genetically that says, okay, I am like who this person is, I should be able to do the same thing.
Mhm.
I think that we do that, and that's where we get a lot of our mentorship from. And I think that by doing this, we we either make or break ourselves.
Yeah, and
Because if you're in a city and you know the only mentors you have are drug dealers, you're gonna be a drug dealer.
well, you may not,
You may not, but
there's a good chance.
it's definitely if you
So let's talk about that. If you're in a family unit that has a lot of drama and a lot of unstableness, um,
right. It's just difficult.
That's a hard one for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um,
But to me, the mentorship situation is probably the most amazing thing that you
so
could do
yeah, let's
to
talk
people.
about that for kids or anybody in general that's in an environment that they don't feel is safe,
Right.
maybe mentally or physically, and how to get out of that. So one thing is the Boys and Girls Club.
That's probably the only mentorship situation I've ever been able to look at that's like so strong that it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So
And look, I'm gonna say out loud, it is a place where you go, and depending on where those clubs are, they really are mentorships. A lot of the people, the counselors, the actual people at the club, the people that they see every day. I mean, you could probably sit down and ask the children, and they'll tell you straight up.
yeah.
That's
So
like my dad.
yeah, and there's a lot of craziness. So these people are, I'm sure, like background checked and all
Yeah,
of
you
that.
have to be. You can't
Yeah.
just walk in a Boys and Girls
Yeah.
Club.
Okay. The Mom and Me just came out.
Yeah, you
Um,
have to.
Yeah, so it's very safe, and I've never heard anything
Oh
negative.
no!
All positive. So that's something that is available to anybody.
Look, the one here, the one Granbury.
Hmm.
I think they pay $20-$30 for their kid to go there the whole
Right.
summer.
That's another one.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
$20-$30 to go the whole summer.
That's awesome.
Okay. And now they have, computer rooms, internet. I mean, if you want to be something, I have never seen more children want to be something more than at those clubs.
That's awesome.
That's the truth.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of great stories, and you hear a lot of celebrities that just really.
I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, Jennifer Lopez was at Boys and
Yeah.
Girls Club. Martin Sheen was at the Boys and
just-
Girls. He was actually one of the first ones ever.
Yeah. So that is another.
Denzel
way
Washington is like literally the
Yeah.
spokesperson
Oh,
for
yeah.
Boys and Girls
That's
Club.
what I was thinking about.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, get into like so that works for some people, a lot of people, and get into a good church maybe, get into sports.
Yeah.
That changes a lot of people's lives.
Well, I thought about
Mm-hmm.
I remember if you have a child that is adopted, I think about this all the time because I will run across it at least once every 2 years.
Yeah.
Where a kid is like, you don't understand what I've gone through and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, how do you know that?
Because we don't all talk about it, but
You
that's what a lot of people
And-
assume they're alone.
Yeah, and they assume that nobody understands them.
Definitely.
So
And that's where the loneliness comes in.
When I could look at a kid and go, "What's your problem?" Well, I don't know who my parents are, or I don't. I was adopted, and I'm like, sometimes that's a blessing. That's what I tell them.
I think a lot of times it is.
And they go, "What do you mean?" And I go, "Well, I've actually never met my biologicals either, and I think that you should understand that who you do know is a blessing sometimes to you, and it should be because you really are learning from people from an outside perspective
Right.
that you need to. There's a reason for that,
Yeah. So
and when they understand that somebody else is going through that same thing, it changes their life."
yeah,
Or
definitely.
has gone through it, or
Yeah,
how did you
it's-
deal with this?
You have more
you
of a
know?
connection, but society has put out a blueprint of how we should be.
Yeah,
as
society-
a family unit.
Doesn't pay you damn bills. Number one. Number two, they don't do anything for you mentally or subconsciously.
Right. So, but what I'm saying is, you go to school and you just take on this belief system that this is what a family unit should look like.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't match up to that, you go, what's wrong with me?
No, you're right. I mean, look. I mean, I can't tell you. Helping.
Now, it's different these days, but back then, I'm sure.
I mean, look. I mean, it's not easy. I'm sure for a lot of parents out there. I mean, the other person they have the child with is either not here. They don't know where they are, or maybe they passed away. Everybody's life is different.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, your word world was definitely changed. You know, this podcast is called Change Your World.
Yeah, but it's the best thing that ever
It's the
happened
best
to me.
thing that ever happened to you.
It really
So,
was. I mean, and I don't know anybody that's gone through a similar situation like that that didn't ever go in the back of their mind, I don't want to be that person because I feel like I should appreciate a lot more what I have and what I'm doing.
yeah,
You know, you take
Yeah.
things more for granted if you think that it's easier.
yeah.
You know, I don't want anything to be easy. I
Hmm.
don't.
Well, it wouldn't be fun,
I
right?
don't like to be easy. I
Hmm.
don't. And some people will tell you, "Oh man, he's true. He's the most difficult person I've ever met." I am happy to be the most difficult person I've ever met.
Hmm.
I'm perfectly happy with that because the people that I work with,
Hmm.
they're special,
Hmm.
and I'm very aware of that.
Yeah.
So
So, what do you mean difficult?
I can be difficult. I always
Okay.
take things the hard way before I take the easy way, but I
Yeah.
think that that's a smarter move because you teach yourself how to do anything, and you're able to go through obstacles that you don't do when you just hit the button A.
Yeah. I'm learning just to kind of flow more with life and trust things.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. For me,
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to take the
like-
whole thing apart and then figure out how to hit play.
I think that's your personality.
Well, it's definitely
and it's fine.
It's just the way I've always been.
Mhm.
I mean, as a child, I listened to. All I did was put puzzles together.
Mhm.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
That's what I did. You
Yeah.
know? I was
So-
bored.
Mhm.
When I was bored, I would go learn how to do something.
Yeah. So let's end this with something really positive.
Mhm.
Maybe some 3 things that you're grateful for that happened today. Stick with today. And everybody at home can do this. Just think of 3 things that happened today and it doesn't have to be anything big. It could be somebody smiled at you.
Today,
Mhm.
my car, I'm thankful for because
Okay.
I'm saving a lot more money.
Awesome.
The internet, I would have to say I'm thankful for
Okay. Yeah.
because when you don't have it, you are not happy. And you know, sounds funny, but I'm thankful for Vermilion Parish. It's for reminding everyone that, you know, no matter who you are, where you are, you can still speak the hell up and have your voice
I
heard.
love it. I love it. Thanks, Kevin. All right, guys. Hope you liked it. We're going to come back with a lot more really interesting and cool topics and make it always informative and always interesting for sure. So we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Mama done told you toast night and day. Don't you let that man get away. Chizuki do.